Hey everybody, we're back. I know it's been kind of a long pause for us, right? Almost 2 weeks since the last episode. We've been doing videos regularly over on YouTube, as well as some live streams that have gone up. So I'd encourage you to check those out. I will put a link in description if you want to watch those. We also have new business cards that have been printed that have the QR code to the show. And the cards, we want to have them popping up in cities around the country, like at coffee shops and bars and just everywhere, as kind of an offline marketing method. So if you're interested in that, there will also be a contact link where you can send us your info. And we'll mail you some of these cards as well as a small amount of compensation to spread the good word. And, with everybody bidding on Google ads and like Facebook ads and stuff, there's actually not as much offline spam as there used to be. Like I remember back in the day, bars would have like a billboard
Mm-hmm.
and it was everybody's little thing they had going on.
Yeah.
And I think to some extent that's been made uncool. We're going to take advantage of that like cultural arbitrage where it's uncool but it's basically legal. We're just going to put these cards everywhere and get people talking about the show. But I'm here today with our guest Payten. You want to give people your full name, or you only go by your first name, or what?
Hi, I go by Payten Lee.
Okay, Payten Lee. So that's what's on your like portfolio and comp card. She's an actress and model based in Florida, and she just recently completed a video commercial for a major hotel chain that I won't mention until it comes out, but one of the big ones that you've probably stayed at, and also has a modeling career and some other creative projects in the works. So how are you, and what do you think of Florida?
I'm great. I love Florida. This weather is awesome. I enjoy being able to be outside year round, not having to be cooped up inside in winters. It's great. I love Florida. And I like it even more the longer that I stay here.
Hmm. Well, there's something called the survivorship bias. I don't know if you've seen the picture on social media. It shows a warplane from World War II and has all these red dots around it. And those are the places where the planes during the war were able to take hits and still recover, still come back to the landing strip.
Oh, well.
And it's called the survivorship bias because that data only records the planes that come back.
That
So
makes
it's
sense.
not a complete picture, And yeah, so I think in that vein, the fact that the oldest people in the country live in Florida,
Very true.
maybe it's the weather and the local orange juice,
Must be the nicest state.
because fresh orange juice from a nearby like Florida place, it tastes totally different from the stuff you get in a grocery store, which is weird. How much it's processed or whatever. But I think again, this is total absolute pseudoscience. But I think it's the orange juice and the low key sun damage that is for some reason keeping their DNA in check, and they're living the longest down here,
I
right?
can see that, yeah.
So tell me about, aside from the video commercial you did, what have been some of your past creative things completely outside of modeling and acting?
Ooh, I went to school and I got a master's in public health, and I would say that the field of addiction medicine in general is definitely one of my lifelong passions that I hope to be at least have my foot in at all points throughout my life.
Yeah. Hopefully this is recording loud enough. Um, but yeah, no, that's cool. So you want to heal people. That's one of your passions. That makes sense.
Definitely.
Do you see a balance, or do you want to eventually switch over to acting and stuff full time?
I would like to be able to take advantage of the opportunity if it presents itself. I feel as though I'm getting close now, but I don't want to be getting ahead of myself.
Hmm. Well, that's good. It's good not to put expectations on yourself too much. I actually think that creative fields are weird because they should be treated almost as like hobbies or passions at first. And instead, everybody hits the ground running, trying to make money from it, which I think makes it really stressful, but also like is going to obscure your vision to some extent, right? Like if you're doing something for the money, then you're not at your creative purist necessarily.
I agree. It takes the magic out of it when you're putting stress and pressure on yourself. Like, oh, I have to get this done.
Hmm. Yeah. No, speaking of magic, I increasingly believe in luck. I was thinking of this today when I was getting a massage at this spa nearby, and like all these little things all morning were going wrong. Like the elevator took an insane amount of time. Some business thing was an annoyance. And then I get to the place, the spa, and the lady's freaking out because she can't find the CBD oil, and she's worried that I'm gonna get her fired or something. And I'm like, this isn't that big a deal. Just use the shitty oil. I don't care. It's just some high end spa. And so she was upset because some other person there who works there had used her special CBD oil
Oh.
or whatever. But I don't know where I'm going with the story really, but oh yeah, so as I was getting the massage, I'm thinking about like this like series of things that already annoyed me, and now here I wasn't even getting the massage that I had signed up for
Hmm.
because I wanted the CBD treatment. Uh, I'm thinking luck is totally a real thing, and I was thinking about my like trades over the past week, some investing things that some things that did well and some things that turned sour unexpectedly. And I was thinking how luck is such a component of, for me at least, making money. Because I'll think about something, I'll spend like 10 hours thinking about something and do all the research and place the trade, and then I'll be completely wrong and humbled by the market, right? And then there are other things where I just like see something on Robinhood or my other brokerage account. I see something pop up and just go, "Ooh, this looks cool." And after 30 seconds of flipping around, I put an insane percentage of my net worth into it, and it comes
Hmm.
in, and there's some like idiot factor. But you can't rely on the idiot factor because then it doesn't
Hmm.
work. Like there's you keep mentioning magic. There's something almost magical to luck where it favors the person who doesn't need it and is
Mm.
almost like oblivious to the luck. It's very weird. It's a weird thing, but I'm working on my theory.
Huh. Do you think a person could create their own luck? And how so?
That's a really great question. Wow, that was like ChatGPT level dive into this, because the second part of my day, right before we met up
Hmm.
to do this recording, right before we met up, I was at a bank branch and was on this Odysseus like journey trying to send a payment out, trying to
Mm.
send a wire out for some business stuff. And the first branch was like just nightmarish in the sense that this branch manager, who seemed like he was a teenager,
Oh.
walked up to me and he takes me to the one lady who's working there who can do wires. And she tells me that I have to sit there and wait for 2 hours. And I was like, "Are you serious?
Oh,
Like, sit
why?
here like I'm at an airport or something for 2 hours?" Because she has another client coming in, another
Mm.
customer coming in first. But I can't believe you can't just send this wire off, because she had nobody sitting there, right? It was like
Yeah.
just she was there sitting there doing nothing. And I know from previous times getting a wire done that it takes like 5 minutes.
Right.
Under ideal circumstances, it's a 5 minute process. So like, why are you turning me down when I've been a good customer since 2017 or 2016 or something? Crazy, right? So I tell this teenage branch manager all this. I say, look, you guys have been great up until today, and I've been probably one of your big customers since 2017. This is crazy. I'm gonna close my account. Like, I'm gonna call your corporate and close my account. This is insane that it's 4 hours until the end of business before weekend,
Hmm.
and you can't send a payment for me, which is one of the core functions of a bank.
Yes.
Uh, so I called the up level number,
Mm.
and there was a new branch just a mile down the street that had just opened.
Ah.
And I spoke to the branch manager. I was connected to her, and she was very nice and asked me like, "Oh, like, are you?" She said, "Are you? So you're coming from another branch? What happened at the first branch?" And I summarized what happened, and she was like, "Oh no, come in, and we'll get this sent off for you." When I come in, and it's more the process you'd expect, right?
Hmm.
She sees me come in, she greets me, she hands me off to her wire guy, and in about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm on my way.
Oh,
It's
how it
done,
should be.
yeah, it should be, and he's very nice. And I found this restaurant nearby that I knew the other location like more than 10 years ago. So cool little synchronicity. But my luck changed throughout the day, from annoyance after annoyance to the transition point was when I was willing to stand up to this teenager this teenager and say, look, this is not the experience that I've had in the past, and I will
Hmm.
be closing my account. And I think there's like you have to not take too much shit. You know, it's like that's I think when it changes is when it's like you're not going to be completely subservient to the day's events. I just instead of getting upset in any way, I was very kind to him. Right?
Right.
I thought, God, there's got to be like a million branches around here, and I
Hmm.
just pulled out my phone and looked it up and called the main number, and the whole thing changed. Different experience. They even offered me like a special interest rate
Oh.
because it's a new branch.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's good because I have too much of my money in apps. We're gonna do a live stream later tonight. Payten won't be here, but I'll be here, and we might have some people calling in, some friends of mine calling in. We're gonna do a live stream on how some of these finance apps like Robinhood uh, are in some cases like invalidating people's trades and stuff. And although they offer you interest if you park your money there,
Hmm.
it doesn't instill too much confidence, you know. So I think as boring as banks have become, we love to do everything on the app. There's still nothing like a bank balance and an FDIC insured bank that actually
Hmm.
has physical presence, that actually has branches around the country and has like real estate loans that they can call in if they ever get desperate. A real bank, not an app run by a handful of smart people in Northern California, you
Right.
know?
And real actual people you can go in and talk to if you need to.
Totally,
Hmm.
totally. Yeah, these finance apps like Robinhood, there's nobody in your community to talk to.
Nope.
They route you to a call center, and it's great that you know they're very fast and stuff, but they're thousands of miles away.
Exactly.
So the bank is not as out as I think our generation thinks it is.
I agree. Definitely don't get that level of customer service through anything else.
Yeah. Uh, that and like the FDIC insures your account balance up to a certain number. And that is a cool thing because dollars are never going to go away. There's a certain percentage of people, the old people who don't trust technology and
Hmm.
just people who don't care, who are never going to really be interested in Bitcoin, but they will accept dollars and they'll spend dollars. And of course, the only way you can pay taxes is using the dollar. So it has this locked
Hmm.
in use case. And point is, it's always going to be around. And I think that just like everything circles back after 20 years and becomes cool again
Uh-huh.
or
Yep.
becomes in vogue.
Just like fashion.
Yeah, just like fashion, exactly. I think having like a real bank balance instead of just a bunch of bullshit on the blockchain. Sorry to my crypto listeners. Having a real bank balance somewhere instead of just theoretical real estate or again stuff on the blockchain, it's going to appeal to people again. As long as we have a civilization of any kind and as long as we have a Congress in DC, that at least up until your FDIC insured limit, you have that money, and it's a store of value in a sense that's disconnected from the internet somewhat. And the internet, I don't fully trust crypto after the Bybit hack. There is this 1.4 billion or 1.5 billion dollar hack of Ether from a wallet, crypto exchange's wallet, not long ago.
Mm.
People can Google the details. This is a really disturbing hack because uh, it wasn't someone's fault. This is what's messed up. Is like it's not as if somebody had a bad password or they were using a computer that had malware on it. Instead, what happened is like a service in between was compromised,
That's crazy.
and the crypto details of a previous transaction were pilfered and
Wow.
then used to hypothecate a fraudulent transaction that actually went out on the blockchain and drained this person or drained this crypto exchange's funds. And
Wow.
after I saw that, I sold off part of my main crypto holding without regret, even though it's gone up a lot and I still really believe in it overall. I trimmed there because it can no longer be fully trusted. Like, how can you assure that every single service on the internet that's traversing your crypto information that is secure? It's like it in my mind blew a massive hole in the battleship that is crypto. Um, but yeah, so the point is, I think after 20 years, everything gets cool again. Now some people are collecting CDs again,
Oh yeah.
and CD
I
players are
did hear of that.
coming
And
back into vogue.
radios.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and FM radios too. Yep, you can find a million of them on Amazon. Vintage remade radios for people who want to relive the early 2000s. Yeah, banks are going to come back. I'm calling it. Is Warren Buffett selling off his major bank stocks? After this summer, I might be buying bank stocks. I'm doing the sell in May thing. It's like how
Nice.
people do diets.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing sell in May.
Good for you. Do you think that we're close to being at a point at which people just go to the grocery store and they pay for their groceries with Bitcoin?
I think that's coming. Yeah, if these big Wall Street banks are going to continue to pump money into it,
Mm-hmm.
I think they have to show us like some actual growth
Yeah.
aside from their own churn, aside from them pumping their own bags. So are people using it? And until I see it in stores and stuff, I don't fully believe that the current values make any sense. Because again, it's big banks that are buying it now and
Mm-hmm.
rich people. But the way to have staying power is to have people using it to buy beer and coffee and, like you say,
Right.
groceries, and then you got everybody locked in. The other thing I've identified on some previous live streams recently is if you start using it at your coffee shop, and if you start being able to use it at the grocery store, at the mall, if you can pay your rent with crypto instead of the annoying credit card process where they take like 5%, and
Oh, the worst.
yeah. So instead of that, if you could pay with Bitcoin or another major crypto like Ether, like sacred Ethereum, uh, then if someone in the future, after Trump is out in 3 years, if it's a Democrat who's anti crypto, and if they choose to be tough on crypto use, that's going to be seen as coming down on people's communities. It's like how
Mm.
you pay your rent and
Right.
how you pay at the bar and how you pay for your groceries and how you pay your friends back.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically your life. So if somebody comes after that, if that's your preferred payment method, that person would become very politically non-viable. They would not
Right.
be able to be elected for that long, not certainly not more than once. So it gives it this kind of resilience. And yeah, I think crypto is absolutely fascinating. It's one of the great successes in the technology world.
Relatively recent as well.
Yeah, it's only 16 years old.
Crazy.
Is that nuts?
Extremely.
But no, I don't see it in enough stores, but I do see like
Mm-hmm.
Coinbase layering NBA games with their ads
Mm-hmm.
on the just like in the in the stadiums and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that's interesting to me how saturated it is. And for a little while, the stadium in LA was called the Crypto.com Arena.
Wow. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, I think it got reclawed or something. But for a while, point is the money's out there. Like they can
Mm-hmm.
sponsor stuff whenever they want to.
For
These
sure.
these big crypto companies. And it's a real innovation. People who didn't see
Mm-hmm.
it are just kind of idiots. It's a real innovation like email
Oh
or
yeah.
like satellite TV.
Cell phones.
Yeah, or cell phones, precisely. And these jumps occur, right? So, like, is satellite TV the same thing as local theater in the 1850s? No, it's
No.
not. But it's, in a sense, the natural progression, right? If you keep churning out innovation, it makes sense that now you have a talk show beamed to you from geostationary orbit in space.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and crypto is much the same. It's like human value is just the thing. Like money is just money. Like no other species on the planet cares about money, and it's a cool innovation, and we all use it because it allows us to potentially collect a surplus. If you
Mm-hmm.
live in a state of nature, like that show Naked and Afraid.
Oh, yep. I remember that show. I remember when that first came out and everybody was like obsessed with watching that every week.
Yeah, I watched a few episodes, and sometimes it's on at like random bars and stuff. They put it on the
Oh,
TV.
that's random bar
It's
TV to
very
watch.
very aggressive programming, I think, for
I agree
for a
for a
restaurant
bar
or bar.
watch.
But no, Naked and Afraid, it's like that's the world you enter if you choose to reject these civilizational compromises like currency and the stock market. And like, is the stock market perfect? No, it's not, but at least we have something, right? At least you have a
Yeah.
way of investing in ideas and companies outside of your immediate reach. And if you're in the forest, if you're in the state of nature, you don't get all that. You can claim you're free, but like if you're worried about tomorrow's meal or being, attacked by another species because you're
Hmm.
literally in a state of nature and you don't even have a home,
Yeah.
then you're out of the agreement. And
Hmm.
so again, I think these things like currency and like the stock market are super amazing innovations that took a long time to actually agree on.
Hmm.
They've already been perfected to a large extent. Like we benefit from being like pretty advanced in terms of how long people have had markets that look like the current market. Like 300 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have the internet. It wasn't 24/7 or instant. They had an idea of like share-based markets, and
Right.
they knew what a bank account was. And actually, their bank accounts in many ways were fairer than today's, more based in reality.
Wow.
Yeah, because they use gold.
Yep.
So
Do you know when we stopped doing that?
it was with Nixon. People can look up the gold shock, the Nixon gold
Ah,
shock, where he took the dollar off the gold standard.
I'm sure I learned about that in history class many a moons ago.
I'm sure you did. I think what they tell you in AP history
Nope.
or in college when you learn history again
Mm-hmm.
is that Nixon promised it would be temporary.
Ah,
Now we're a generation later,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and it's still a dollar based on nothing other than the fact that it's the exclusive way to pay taxes, and it's the exclusive payment method of the U.S. government for the military. That's it.
Kind of weird and scary to think about. Like at any point, it could just, you know.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin and crypto is actually a huge vulnerability for our the entire old system, and the
Mm-hmm.
fact they didn't shut it down when they could have.
Yeah.
They just didn't have enough wherewithal. Either arrogance or they truly didn't see how strong it would become. But, you know, you can't turn back now. It's too big. It's everywhere. Really fascinating, though. I think before that, podcasts had equal impact,
Mm-hmm.
like made the radio and TV competitors. Like, how crazy is that? That you could be sitting in your bedroom or sitting in your basement, for that matter, and you put out a podcast through what's basically a modified RSS feed that is, device agnostic and just goes out anywhere. You're suddenly the new CNN or the new, like ABC or whatever. It's absolutely crazy.
Exactly.
And some people have capitalized on that. Everybody knows, the big names.
Oh yeah.
But I think there are also smaller shows like ours that have a loyal listening, and it's cool to see people actually click on the links and like email us and send us updates and stuff. It's interesting. And I think we have a relatively low impact show, and that like when a business comes on, they don't get slammed with orders or anything. But a month or two later, I'll get an email saying like, "Hey, thanks for having me on. Got a number of interesting emails from your listeners." And so it shows me
Nice.
that beneath the surface, there is some kind of real following there, which
Right.
I appreciate. Um, but yeah, so let's talk about vision boarding and manifesting stuff. Where do you
Ooh.
stand on all that?
I believe in it. I'm a little bit like you in how I would say that I believe that people can create their own good luck or, in a way, create their own bad luck. It's the types of thoughts, actions you have that you put out into the world, the way that you impact and influence other people.
Yeah, no, this circles back to what I was saying about how the day turned from extremely annoying to pleasant, and I think the catalyst was just being unwilling to accept a really bad experience. Like, I've worked with your bank for years. You have branches everywhere, which is why I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fully understand what's happening.
Right.
I don't fully understand why I'm being turned away with 4 hours before the end of the business day, and then we head into a weekend. Is it the end of the world if this doesn't go out today? No, it's not. It could go out on Monday. But why can't it go out today?
Mm-hmm. Because you
you
have to
know?
wait four
Yeah.
hours in the
Yeah.
lobby.
No, that's how I was thinking, is like, well, why can't it be today? So
Right.
it's being, I guess, unwilling to accept something less than what you actually want,
Mm-hmm.
while still operating within a field of reality, obviously. Uh, not being so unreasonable that.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It's important to not be a doormat, though. Let people walk all over you.
Hmm. Definitely. So, what are your main social media places? Where do you like to share your thoughts and stuff?
I would say that I use Instagram the most. I don't really use anything else. I've kind of toyed with the idea of creating a TikTok or utilizing Twitter, but I just haven't.
Why not? Is there like a switching cost, do you think? Because you could do it in addition to, right? So I'm not telling you you should, but
Right, right. It's good advice.
yeah, I mean, we re-upload a lot of our stuff on X and Facebook and
That's
even
cool.
on Rumble now.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, they're a YouTube competitor. And so my thinking is why not? Once we go through the effort of creating content, getting a great, getting a great interview with somebody like
Hmm.
you, or if I'm thinking about something all day and then I sit down and record something,
Hmm.
why would I not want, even if it's 500 extra people,
Right.
why would I not want that for free if all you have to do is hit upload on a couple of other services?
Yeah.
So that's just my thinking. Is I realized recently that, and then we affected it as a brand, and we're getting extra clicks for nothing.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah. I think it's important to capture all of the potential audiences. And there are some differences within the populations that, mostly hang out on particular apps. So I think it's good to diversify.
hmm yeah, the bank branch today, the wire guy was asking me what field I'm in. I was telling him internet media and explaining what I do, and he was talking about how one of his regular clients is in internet marketing and media also, and how he sees it's become such a like big part of the economy.
It has.
And then I started to trip out basically and think about how the internet has contributed so much to the current economy. It's
It
crazy,
really
right? From
has.
Uber to like how you get your groceries to the massive multiplier effect of email. It's just the whole thing is insane when you really think about it.
To everything. I literally would not be sitting here right now if it was not for the internet.
Right. No, definitely content and media have been completely changed by it.
I'd say one of the most amazing parts of the internet as well is being able to meet people. And like not in a weird way. I feel like maybe 10, 20 years ago people had a different idea of what it is to meet somebody online. And now it's almost normal. Like there's so many groups online, no matter what your niche is, no matter what you're looking for, any type of connection, you can find it.
Yeah, no, like when I was in college living in New York, people would meet each other through Craigslist and some other lesser known sites like it. And by today's standards, I don't use dating sites, by the way, because it just makes me feel exposed in kind of a weird way. So
Yeah.
someone could just screenshot it and then do like a some like gossip site article, like look at this fucking guy, like so I never
Go on.
never do dating sites. The downside is that you're leaving things up to circumstance, and that
Exactly.
takes time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it takes time, sometimes it doesn't. But it requires surrendering to your environment and just people you meet through work and at random places. Uh, but yeah, so I remember these Craigslist ads that we would all post or respond to, and
Can you provide an example?
well, yeah, it would be like looking to meet all caps, right? And then like 28F, like 28
I
female,
feel like I've seen those.
28 female midtown, and,
Definitely
and,
in
it, and it would
jest.
and it would show like a pin on the map of Manhattan, the Google map of Manhattan,
My
of like
goodness.
where they posted from, and based on that, you would meet this total fucking stranger
Oh, yeah.
as a college student. You'd meet this total stranger either in their like apartment hallway or if you were lucky in a somewhat public place. But
Hmm.
that was how people met each other. And now the apps are like, you know, the apps today, at least you see people's photos and stuff, then you can use like a reverse image search if you want
Yeah, yeah.
and see that they're a person with a LinkedIn or whatever. You can do a little bit of digital forensics. But back then, you had nothing. Again, looking to meet. And then the description was just whatever they entered into a text box.
It could be anybody.
It could be literally anybody, and it was rife with scams. And luckily,
I
most
can't
of the
even
scams were
imagine.
just to harvest your email address to send you stuff.
Never understood how those worked.
Yeah. Now spam's a big business. I think they want your email address, and now I get all these random calls. And I think my number just leaked out on some list because it started like overnight. It went from being a clean number to now
Mm.
it's all like we're calling from USA Loan and we have your offer ready to go. And it's like I get at least 3 of these a week.
I almost wonder if telemarketers are stepping it up because even my recent business number as well, I got a call today about some loan I totally did not apply for.
Yeah, it's super shady.
Definitely.
We need a congressional act. Like no more of this. This is not the American way.
Right? It makes me wonder, like, if telemarketers are just like typing in random phone numbers and pressing dial, and then just like seeing if somebody answers or if it's a real number or not.
No, this is some third world shit.
I'm sure,
If this
yeah.
took off in China, they would be executing people left and right,
Yeah.
and it would be shut down. It's an invasion of like the quality of life. Like you
Hmm.
shouldn't be calling me about a loan I didn't apply for once, much less every 24 hours. So then like the number leaks out a second time, I guess, because now it's like they multiply. You know?
Yeah. I get so many. I probably get at least 10 a day on my normal phone number.
Yeah. So media wise, who are some of your heroes that you would like to, if you could, body snatch and live their career from here on
Live
out?
their career. That might be tough. I have quite a few friends that work as models, actresses, and it's always really awesome to be able to see them get jobs, especially good jobs, good ads, good campaigns, and especially if you see their face pop up in the wild, and it's just so awesome. Like, I love being my friends, like, number one supporters.
Hmm.
It might be hard to choose a particular person.
Okay, so you don't have any like particular Hollywood influence or famous model that you're guided by?
Um, I would say that there's a lot that I admire, but my career I feel like has been so random, and I feel like I've never been in the typical category of model that it is difficult to have an idol that I feel like their look applies to me, their career projection, let's say.
Hmm. Uh, but yeah, so Florida, to go back to Florida, well, I
Hmm.
think we're going to give this some Florida hashtags.
We love Florida. Hashtag Tampa.
There we go. Hashtag Tampa, hashtag we love Florida,
Yes, we do.
hashtag Miami. Uh, yeah, so I think Florida and Texas are among the last great U.S. states, not to offend everybody else listening, which is most people. But just in terms of the regulation and the amount of freedom, as long as you didn't get nailed for weed like 20 years ago,
Oh, yeah, you'd
yeah,
still be in prison right
yeah,
now.
you'd still be in some
Hmm.
horrific state prison. But like, short of that, uh, these are the states where I feel like the American lifestyle is still going strong. And that's not to say that we don't have crazy people here, like the Florida man and
Oh, we
me,
got him. We have a few.
and same with Texas. But when you give people freedom, and you give
Hmm.
people, privilege, most people also realize that comes with responsibility. But some people don't realize that, right? Some
Yep.
people don't get the talk from Spider-Man's uncle or whatever, and you know they fall short of what's expected of them and end up in prison or something.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not a great state. In fact, I think it's the ease of life in Texas and Florida that is what brings those people here. I think like if it were really cold and if it were really hard to live here, those people would be somewhere else.
I agree. It's definitely the weather. Like, keeps bringing people down here.
Oh, it's great weather. Like every once in a while, a hurricane comes along and like this glass is low cat.
I can't
Uh,
even imagine how terrifying it would be to be inside this room if there's a hurricane.
oh yeah, I mean I'll be out of town
Yeah.
days before it's expected.
True, true. It's still scary.
Yeah, but that's my plan. Is like Florida's perfect as long as you just dodge any hurricanes. Get
Yeah.
out of town, find someone to visit, find somewhere to go.
Don't live right on the coast if you
Yeah,
can help it.
don't live right on the coast. Knock on marble.
I know. Knock on marble. This place has been good so far, so I think it's built well. It's too high for the hurricane to hit it.
Oh, yeah, this place would survive anything.
Yeah.
It's built to maximize the real estate developers' revenue.
Yep, makes sense. They're not letting this building go down.
Exactly. But yeah, it's great that you came down and visited today. I think we'll do a little tour afterwards.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That'd be great.
Yeah, and so it's funny not to make this interview about me, but just the other day I was thinking about hanging up my hat for a while, maybe for the whole summer, because I was thinking like I don't know, I feel like I was excited when I got my YouTube channel back in January,
Yeah.
and we hit the gas pedal pretty hard and covered all the stuff we wanted to cover and
Hmm.
did this follow-up interview with somebody I used to be friends with like 12 years ago,
Oh, wow.
and caught up with her, and she had made a lot of money from Bitcoin, which is
Hmm.
interesting because I wondered why she kind of dropped off the radar.
Living her best life, it
Yeah,
sounds like.
she's living her best life. She met me in New York. We did the interview, and then she was
Nice.
like, "All right, I got to roll, Dave. We're headed to London."
Oh,
She was off.
nice.
Uh, but yeah, I feel like I was gonna take the summer off because I just feel a little bit of burnout, and this should always come from a place of passion. I think, especially
Hmm.
since we've turned down sponsor offers that were money in the bank.
Right.
But I don't want to do that. If it's coming from a place of passion, and if I'm saying what I want to say, and that's not talking for 15 minutes about some vitamin or some,
Right.
some random company that makes thermoses or something. Like that's not what we that's not how we want to thank the world for giving our YouTube channel back in a sense.
Hmm.
Not that I did anything wrong, but like it's a big deal to have this platform again. And same with Apple Podcasts and Spotify. They've been absolutely great to us since we launched in January. I don't want to spit on that by disappearing when it's like I think I've just become accustomed to ease. It's you have a filet mignon every day, and it's probably
Yeah.
terrifying by day 90 if you get served filet mignon at 12 p.m.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick with it, and I think probably more live streams.
I think that would be good.
You think that'd be good? Maybe
Spice it up a little.
yeah, maybe you'll be a guest on one of them.
Oh, that'd be fun.
If there's breaking news, you can come down here.
I'd love to.
You'd love to do that?
Put me in front of a green screen. Your audience can meet me.
Yeah, well, I'll keep that in mind because definitely I want to do some live streams that involve guests when there's huge breaking news.
That'd be awesome.
Like we don't have a moon landing coming up, but something at that level
Right.
would be cool to like just sit with somebody and like live, kind of live DJ it.
I'm sure there'll be some type of big event, big news in the next 30 to 90 days. There's always something.
Oh, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Not to jump into politics because this has been a great interview. We're going to close out in a minute. But I was watching Trump's Mideast tour. I'm just amazed by both the level of showmanship and the response that he got from all these different countries. Them lighting up the Burj Khalifa with the U.S. Flag.
That's awesome.
One of the biggest buildings in the Middle East. So lighting up the U.S. colors, and then this crazy welcome he got in the UAE. These women waving their hair back and forth in this crazed fashion, which is like a many thousand-year-old tradition apparently.
Wow.
And then the swordsmen raising their swords and doing the sword dances. This is like
That's
Star
cool.
Wars,
Yeah.
Star Wars level shit,
Definitely.
right, folks? Like this is big. We didn't see anything like this from Biden.
No.
And Trump term 1, the politics of the world were different. So there wasn't a need to like shut China out of the Middle East as there is today. And what he did is extraordinary in a sense. Like he flew out there on Air Force One, and these different Arab countries or these different Gulf powers greeted him with their jets, their fighter jets, escorted him into their airstrips. He gets a state welcome. Like this is historic stuff.
Definitely.
This is crazy. And CNN was talking about how his poll numbers have jumped, and they haven't really seen this in recent history, that someone starts to slide this much and then jumps back up. And that's classic Trump, I think, is like he has a reality distortion field. It's just not as strong as like maybe Steve Jobs is or some of these other, visionaries. So I don't know if I want to call Trump a visionary, but he does have a reality distortion field fully functioning. Like he kept saying that egg prices had dropped by some ridiculous percentage, and it was a patently false claim. And then just recently, the media re-fact checked him. They like followed up on his story, and they were like, "Shit, hate to say it, but Trump was actually right. Now the price of eggs have calamitously dropped."
That's so funny.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like we're definitely living in history at this period in time. There's a lot of things we're witnessing that are definitely monumental.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a very historical period. To have a U.S. president do this multi-country tour in the Middle East
Yeah.
with the express purpose of shutting out China and like showing them the love.
It's crazy.
And then he does these The Office style like post analysis things where they'll interview him on Air Force One. He's like hanging out of a door.
Yeah,
a doorway.
yeah.
Have you seen that?
I did see that. That was pretty funny.
He's hanging out of a doorway and he's like, "Yeah, the Middle East was starved for love, and they weren't getting it from America, and so like I gave them the love."
Oh, he's so real.
it's very cinematic. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's wild to see. It's wild to see this great global competition between the U.S. and China, and then I don't know what's going on fully with Russia and Ukraine. I don't fully understand that whole thing. And I've watched enough conspiracy videos on it. I'm not convinced of any one narrative. It's a very strange phenomenon. Like, how do you have a war that's eating a lot of people, costing a lot of money? Nobody seems to ultimately care about it, aside from people who live in Ukraine.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. It's awful though, seeing the devastation going on over there. All those beautiful old buildings.
Right. Well, when I say nobody cares about it,
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
that nobody's stopped it.
Nobody's reacting
Yeah,
to it.
nobody's
You think
ultimately ending the war.
the US could go over there and squash it?
You would think one way or another. You'd
Yeah.
think we hold the cards, as Trump has said. But no, super impressive Middle East thing. Maybe we do live in some sad reverse Truman Show
Can
where world events are just rehearsed for us.
you imagine?
But if so,
Black Mirror.
this has been a great season. You know.
It's definitely been interesting.
Yes, it has. Any final thoughts for the internet before we sign off?
It was nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on today.
And we'll put Peyton's links in the description if you want to continue the conversation.
Great.
So this thing we're going to hang up in a minute. We
Perfect.
went to one of Romero Britto's galleries
It was
and
beautiful.
bought a piece of original art from him, big painting. Yeah, they were fun though, right?
That was super fun. And they let us go up into like a secret room after.
Yeah, we went up in this secret room where they have the paintings that are waiting to be picked up,
It was great.
as well as like champagne and some other, I think a
A microwave.
microwave in a bathroom.
Yeah.
Only for the elite.
The bathroom was clutch though. I do like my bathrooms.
Only for the elite. But no, he's a great artist. The people look him up. I was an art history minor in college, and
It's beautiful, his art.
so he's something original. Happy Art Movement, it's called. You can read about it on Wikipedia. The Happy Art Movement, it's its own thing. It looks almost like a cartoon or an NFT, but not as shitty as an NFT. There's something truly original to it, and
Hmm.
it makes you happy. It like brings me back to my childhood or something. I don't know.
It's cool.
A lot of art is needlessly dark. You know.
Yeah. Dark art is neat too, but I feel like seeing something like this on a daily basis is also nice.
Yeah, you have positive reset instead of just some somber stuff from the 1700s of somebody holding like a scythe or a
Oh
till or something
yeah.
in a grain field. It's like I feel
Exactly.
like that's so much of art.
Right? Ghosts.
So I got really into art history because I had this professor who challenged me, but didn't challenge me in like a Robin Williams Goodwill Hunting way. I just
Hmm.
felt she was so effing dumb that
Oh
I
my
got more
gosh.
interested in it because like she would tell us how they would do something in the 1500s, like a very specific paint method or something. And one time, rhetorically, I asked her, "How do you know this? How does anybody know this? Like,
Hmm.
you're making assertions, and maybe you're right because you can reproduce it with a modern paintbrush. Maybe you're wrong. Who the fuck knows?" I thought I'd get like standing ovations for
Yeah.
people, but instead it was like just silence.
Awkward.
And then I got a C for that semester or whatever.
Retaliation.
Retaliation, right?
Yeah.
But no, as a result, I was like, you know what? F this B. I'm going to become the best at art history. And I just really
Hmm.
boned up on my art history knowledge. By the end, she had to begrudgingly give me, I think it was an A minus.
No. Too bad you don't have her email or something. You could be like, look at this original piece I have in my
She
living
was
room now.
an old lady who lived on the Upper West Side.
Oh.
I went to college in New York City. I had a
Yeah.
very, in some ways, very rarefied existence.
Hmm.
So I think it's a story of up and then further up,
For sure.
which is still it's something. I don't think anybody comes from nothing. I think we're on a planet.
Exactly.
We're on a planet that's very good to us.
Hmm.
And outside of this, just coldness and darkness. Nothing makes sense. So you already start with a big bonus in some way.
Yes. Hmm.
Future challenges. Anything you're stressed out about politically or nationally?
Hmm. I hear that there's like a 50% chance that we might go into a recession, but I wouldn't say that I particularly am worried about it. I'm just worried about the state of other people around me, I would say.
Yeah, no, I've read similar headlines. I
Hmm.
guess we'll have to wait and see. But again, I'm on the sell in May or what is it? Sell in May and go away.
Yep.
I'm on that diet. I'm committed.
Yep.
There have just been enough years. I only became a serious investor in like the last 2 years, aside from
Mm.
crypto, which is a
Right.
longer thing. But
Hmm.
in terms of stocks and commodities, only 2 years. And already in this period of time, I've experienced the regret of not reducing in May. Because what
I'm
happens is
sure.
there's less volume over the summer. And
Hmm.
a lot of the powerful people truly they go away. And
Mm,
they come back sometime when they're dragged back in September
yeah,
or early October. But
interesting.
until then, the money's just no longer there. And
Yeah,
so you're dealing with like very light volume, which can be good in some circumstances, but ultimately is bad because less money is coming in.
right. Yeah.
So those are my thoughts, but not financial advice and not a predictor of future success. For me, sell may go away is so then I just sit on gold and Bitcoin and I can enjoy an incredible summer of breaking in the jet. That makes more sense to me than trading stocks when you know you're going to lose because the volume is just being ripped to shreds as people go on, summer vacation. Thanks again for joining me so much, Payton.
Thanks for having me.
And no sponsored message. Isn't that great, guys? If you enjoy the fact that we're halfway through the year almost, and we haven't defiled your ears with a single sponsor or a single nonsensical commercialized message since January. If you enjoy that fact, I am going to put a link to my PayPal in the description. And you're under no obligation to leave a tip. But if you've enjoyed the show, if it's been important to you, why don't you send a fat tip and then I'll take Payton to dinner somewhere before she heads back to
Thanks, guys, in
before she
advance.
before she heads back to Tampa. But no, I mean it. If you enjoyed the show, it's fine to send money, and it's fine to check out the other links to the show description. But yeah, we're gonna keep this sponsor free. Just want a very active audience. I want to be able to put out stuff on short notice, and it's in many ways a dream come true to have the show and to have Florida. It really is a dream come true.
For sure.